Welcome back to Poorly Educated Today in the News. Segment 1. Shutdown Nation and the TSA Hunger Games. You know the federal government shutdown has gone on too long, when the airport security people are basically volunteering like it's a church bake sale. We are now 29 days into a shutdown, and over 50,000 TSA officers are working without paychecks. That means the person checking your luggage might also be checking Craigslist during lunch, trying to find a job at a gas station. I ain't blaming them either. If my boss told me I had to keep working, but the money part of the job was temporarily canceled, I would suddenly become extremely interested in fishing. Now airline executives are warning Congress that up to 171 million travelers could see massive airport delays, which honestly might be the first time airline CEOs and regular Americans have ever agreed on something. The whole situation feels like running a cattle auction, with half the gate hands quitting mid-sale, and the scary part is, aviation security is not exactly a job you want staffed by people who are one bad electric bill away from walking out. The grounded reality underneath the comedy is that when basic government operations stall this long, the economy starts tripping over itself. Supply chains slow down, travel gets jammed, and suddenly the whole country is trying to move through the same security line like it's the last funnel cake stand at the county fair. Segment 2. Oil prices and the Strait of Hormuz traffic jam. Meanwhile, overseas, we got a war that has effectively turned the Strait of Hormuz into the world's most expensive parking lot. Iranian operations have disrupted shipping so badly that global oil prices jumped above $100 a barrel. And whenever oil hits triple digits, you can basically hear every pickup truck owner in America whispering a small prayer at the gas pump. The International Energy Agency released hundreds of millions of barrels from emergency reserves to calm the market. The U.S. opened the Strategic Petroleum Reserve too. Japan opened theirs. At this point, the world is basically emptying every emergency oil jar, like grandma digging through the pantry looking for spare beans during a snowstorm. But the real truth is, energy shocks ripple through everything. Food costs go up, freight costs go up, and suddenly that 2x4 at the hardware store costs the same as a steak dinner. War in the Persian Gulf might feel far away, but the moment it starts messing with oil tankers, it shows up real quick in the grocery bill back home. Segment 3. The war that keeps getting bigger. Speaking of that war, the fighting between the United States, Israel, and Iran has turned into one of those situations where every morning you wake up and the map somehow looks worse. U.S. and Israeli airstrikes have been hammering Iranian military infrastructure and oil facilities, while Iran and its proxy network are launching missiles and drones across the region like somebody kicked over a hornet's nest. Missiles hit Israeli cities, drones hit Gulf infrastructure, and Hezbollah is firing weapons deep into Israeli territory. There are even reports of Russian-made drone systems showing up on the battlefield. That's the geopolitical version of seeing your neighbor suddenly show up to the fight with cousins you didn't know he had. Now, the strange thing about modern war is how it spreads sideways. Airports in the Gulf get hit, shipping routes shut down, insurance rates skyrocket, and suddenly the global economy is trying to run a marathon while somebody keeps moving the road signs. The battlefield isn't just tanks and jets anymore. It's energy markets, supply chains, and the internet arguing about it in real time. Segment 4. Markets ignore reality again. Here's the wildest twist of the whole situation. Even with a war raging, oil prices surging, and the U.S. government partially shut down, the stock market is acting like it just drank 3 Red Bulls. The Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P all jumped higher, mostly because investors are obsessed with artificial intelligence companies. NVIDIA is hosting its giant AI conference in California, and the market is basically treating it like the Super Bowl of computer chips. Investors are pouring money into anything related to AI infrastructure, data centers, or semiconductors. It's like the entire financial system decided robots are the future and nothing else matters. Now, that doesn't mean the optimism is totally crazy. AI is genuinely transforming industries at lightning speed. But it does create a weird moment where Wall Street is celebrating the future while the present is yelling about war, oil shocks, and government shutdowns. That's like throwing a house party while the plumbing is actively leaking in the basement. Segment 5. The Immigration Supply Chain Surprise. Back on the domestic front, another policy decision might be about to hit the economy in a weird place. The administration moved forward with a rule that revokes commercial driver's licenses for large numbers of immigrant truck drivers as their licenses expire. Estimates suggest roughly 200,000 drivers could disappear from the logistics workforce. Now, if you know anything about trucking, that industry was already short on drivers before this. Removing that many people from the road during an energy shock is a bit like deciding to remove half the waiters from a restaurant right before dinner rush. The food might still be cooked, but good luck getting it to the table. The broader observation here is that supply chains are delicate systems. Fuel prices, shipping routes, labor availability, and regulations all interact like gears in an engine. Pull one gear out, and suddenly the machine starts grinding. And when that machine is responsible for moving groceries across the country, people start noticing real quick. Segment 6. The future is AI, medicine, and surveillance. Before we wrap up, there's also some strange progress happening in science and technology that sounds like it came straight out of a sci-fi movie. Researchers developed a new cancer treatment that could potentially be mass-produced for a fraction of the price of traditional therapies. Scientists are using artificial intelligence to design drugs for diabetes and obesity. Another AI system can even estimate biological aging from tissue samples. At the same time, leaked documents suggest the Department of Homeland Security is investing heavily in AI-powered surveillance systems using facial recognition and biometric tracking. So on one side of the coin, we're curing diseases faster than ever, and on the other side, we might accidentally build the world's most powerful digital hall monitor. Technology always works like that. It solves one problem while quietly introducing 3 new ones. Kind of like giving your cousin a chainsaw to trim a tree. The tree might get cut, but now you're wondering what else he's about to try cutting next. In conclusion, the world right now feels like one of those county fairs where the rides, the livestock auction, and the demolition derby are all happening at the same time. There's a government shutdown dragging into a 5th week, a war disrupting global oil markets, stock markets partying like none of that exists, and artificial intelligence quietly rewriting half the economy. The strange part is none of these things are isolated. They all connect in ways that show up in airline lines, gas pumps, grocery stores, and job markets. And if the last few days taught us anything, it's that the news cycle isn't slowing down anytime soon.